Exploring the elements of a principled approach. You've been introduced to the 4 key elements of a principled negotiation, as explained by Fisher and Ury in Getting to Yes. But let's focus a little longer on each of the elements to better understand what they are and how to use them effectively. Separate the people from the problem. Separating the people from the problem doesn't mean setting aside or ignoring the emotions and personalities that arise in a negotiation. Rather, being aware of the emotional state of the other side and understanding its impact on the negotiation are major skills. Acknowledging the human factor of negotiation can allow you to use it to your advantage by increasing the trust, improving the communication, and ultimately creating a more efficient and effective negotiation process. When the human factor is ignored, the relationship can become a casualty of the negotiation. For example, one side might hear, "The price is too high," and feel that their fairness is being questioned. In this way, egos can get caught up in the discussion of terms and conditions. Paying close attention to the people can allow negotiators to prioritize clear communication and work together toward common goals. Separating the people from the problem should be more than just a reaction to high emotion or an obvious misunderstanding. The most important skill a negotiator can possess is the ability to see things from the other side's perspective and anticipate their concerns, feelings, and perceptions. The other side of the coin here is recognizing that you are also a person. What feelings is the negotiation process bringing up for you? What are your perceptions of the other side? The more that you are able to prioritize the relationship and see the negotiation as a discussion of the problem, the more successful you will be. Focus on interests, not positions. Focusing on interests instead of positions is probably the most critical element of a principled approach because it keeps the negotiation moving and can help you avoid unnecessary conflicts and concessions. To put it simply, a position is what the other side presents to you as their request or demand. Their interests are the things they need or want that have led them to their position. Focusing on interests is important because there are probably solutions beyond the one position the other side has taken. The best way to find out the other side's interest is to ask why, or why not? For example, in a negotiation for a snow tires contract, the supplier might say that they are unwilling to budge on the price per tire. This is their position. You could try to force them to lower their price by threatening to walk away from the negotiation, but this would create unnecessary conflict and could hurt the relationship. Rather, if you take the time to ask why they are unable to budge on the price, you might be able to reveal their interest. That the price of rubber has steadily increased over the last 3 years due to supply chain issues, and that coming down any further on the price could harm their business. In this way, you can better understand the real underlying interest, and perhaps brainstorm productive solutions that might allow them to lower their price per tire, maybe in exchange for a commitment to purchase a higher volume of tires than originally planned. Communicating about your interests is the best way to shift a negotiation away from positions. Rather than countering with your own position, take the time to explain your interests, your why, to the other side, and ask them to do the same. What are your underlying needs? What outside pressures are at play? Talking about both sides' interests as part of the negotiation will allow you to see the whole picture. It's also important that you frame your interests by explaining where you want to go, rather than where you've been. Talking about what's gone wrong in the past can make people feel defensive or hopeless. Future-focused interests will keep the negotiation moving forward, allowing both sides to feel like they're working together to identify and achieve a solution that will work for everyone. Invent options for mutual gain. Inventing options for mutual gain requires creativity, curiosity, and an open mind. The most common roadblocks to this process are premature judgments and assumptions about the other side, about what a successful outcome will look like, and about the process itself. Most people have a hard time being creative in negotiation because they fear that they might share too much about their side, or might accidentally agree to something they shouldn't. Just like separating the people from the problem, a good negotiator should be able to separate the invention of options from the decisions. A good starting point for inventing options is to understand the shared interests that exist. Even if nothing else, you both want the other side to walk away from the negotiation satisfied enough to actually do what they've agreed to do. Focusing on the desire to maintain good rapport in your relationship, as well as other shared interests like taxpayer satisfaction or environmental impact, provides you with the opportunity to find solutions, and it can also make the negotiation process less combative. It may seem counterintuitive, but another way to invent options for mutual gain is to focus on the different interests that exist. A classic example is the story of two children who both want an orange. On the position level, both children can't possibly be satisfied if there's only one orange. But focusing on their different interests brings to light that one wants the peel to bake a cake, and the other wants the fruit to squeeze for juice. Knowing the differences between their interests makes it clear that there is a solution which will satisfy both children. Similarly, knowing the different interests in your negotiation might make a solution obvious. Insist on using objective criteria. The final element of a principled approach to negotiation is to insist on using objective criteria. Depending on what is being negotiated, those criteria will look very different. But the overarching rule is to reach a solution based on principle, not on pressure. Any criteria used should be decided at the start of a negotiation based on their merit. In some cases, criteria might be determined by a governing body, federal law, or even precedent, but it should always be objective and reasonable. One side should not be able to threaten or force the other side to agree. A battle for dominance undermines not only the negotiation itself, but can also cause lasting damage to the relationship. Using objective criteria protects this relationship and makes it easier for both sides to find efficient and effective solutions. As you enter a negotiation, consider what standards and procedures are fair to both sides. Be consistent and clear in your approach to finding creative options, and be open to the other side's perspective and interests. Remember the human element of negotiation, and prioritize building rapport while you work together to find a solution that will feel like a win for everyone. Not just your side and the other side, but anyone else impacted by the negotiation. A win doesn't necessarily mean that both sides get what they thought they wanted at the start. What good does it do if you're able to force the supplier to agree to the lowest possible price you wanted, if that means you hurt the relationship in the process, and the contract performance suffers as a result of the broken relationship? Instead, the negotiation can be judged by whether it resulted in a fair and enforceable contract, or whether the communication between the parties remained clear and respectful, or whether the next negotiation runs more smoothly. A principled approach to negotiation has lasting value well beyond the initial negotiation itself.